The first sound that hits you is her scream, sharp, broken, desperate, cutting straight through the dry Kansas summer air. And when you lift your eyes, you see her. A young woman, maybe 22 at most, clothes torn, knees bruised, wrists tied high above her head to a dead branch that quivers in the scorching heat. The sun beats down hard enough to make the air shimmer, turning every breath she takes into a small act of pain. Her name is Josie Hale, though she looks like someone the entire world has forgotten. Flies buzz around her bare legs. Her lips are cracked. A long cut streaks down her thigh, dried blood painting her shin as if the wound surrendered before she ever did. She hasn't eaten since yesterday. She hasn't slept in 2 nights. But none of that is the worst thing. The worst thing is the fear in her eyes, fear she keeps trying, stubbornly, to hide. She hangs from the lonely oak tree just outside Dodge City, where the ground is yellow and dead from the summer burn. No shade. No water. Nothing but a battered cowboy hat lying in the grass and the tall, silent rancher standing over her. Elias Ward. 48. Owner of Dry Creek Ranch. A man who lost a daughter and a wife and carries grief the way other men carry tools, always on him, always heavy. Folks say he has a quiet temper, the kind that sleeps deep until someone kicks the wrong stone. Today, the wrong stone is tied to this tree. Josie lifts her head when she hears him step closer. Her voice trembles, but she forces it steady. "You shave me," she tells him, "and I will kill you." The words drop like a threat wrapped inside a plea. Elias freezes. Behind him, the sheriff snorts, amused. To him, the warning of a tied-up girl means nothing. But Elias doesn't laugh. He knows eyes like hers, eyes that fight long after the body gives up. The sheriff tells him to get on with it. Says the girl was caught trying to steal a horse at the Chisholm Trail livery. Says the punishment is simple, shave her head for shame, then let the town finish the lesson. A small crowd gathers. Folks want a show. They want humiliation. They want their afternoon excitement. Elias kneels, slow and heavy, and picks up the shaving kit. Josie flinches when he lifts the straight razor. Her breath comes thin and frantic, but she refuses to look away from him. "You shave me," she whispers again, "and I swear I'll kill you." It isn't the threat of a criminal. It's the last defense of someone who's been pushed so far into a corner that fighting is all she has left. Elias studies her, dirt on her cheeks, bruise on her jaw, her legs shaking from exhaustion, but her chin defiantly lifted. He's seen that same wild look in animals backed into fences. Fear has its own scent. Elias smells it before anyone else. The sheriff taps his boot impatiently. The crowd murmurs, eager for shame, eager for drama. Elias ignores them. "Where'd you come from?" he asks Josie softly. "Why were you near that livery?" Her answer spills out fast and uneven, as if she's been holding it inside for days. She tells him the sheriff never asked her anything. That nobody cared if she had a reason. That she's been running since the night her uncle tried to sell her to a cattle driver who figured a young girl would make easy company on the trail. Something twists deep in Elias's chest. Because evil doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it sits in the house next to yours, drinking from a bottle, pretending to be family. Josie says she only took the horse because she needed to reach Fort Dodge before the man who bought her did. She would have made it, too, if she hadn't collapsed behind the barn from exhaustion. Elias glances at her wrists, the skin torn raw beneath the rope. This is no thief. This is a terrified girl trying to outrun a nightmare with legs. The sheriff steps forward and reminds Elias what happens if he refuses to follow the law. Says letting her go will make everyone think they can get away with anything. The people watching expect Elias to obey. But when he looks down at Josie, her fear, her trembling, the desperation she's trying to hide, something old and buried pulls at him. A memory crawls up his spine. His daughter, Ruth. 15 years old. Sick in a cot in Amarillo, hair falling out in soft clumps as he begged the doctor to save her. He remembers the way she gripped his wrist with the last bit of life she had, telling him to protect people who couldn't protect themselves. He failed her. And some quiet part of him swore he'd never fail like that again. Elias lowers the razor. The sheriff steps forward, furious, but Elias doesn't look at him. One swift motion. The razor slices clean through the rope. Josie collapses, but Elias catches her before her knees hit the dirt. She gasps like a drowning soul dragged back into daylight. The crowd goes silent. Even the sheriff stops. Everyone knows Elias Ward just crossed a line he cannot walk back over. Josie stares up at him, confusion mixing with fear and a flicker of hope. Elias steadies her. And right there, the story turns in a direction no one saw coming. The sheriff reaches for his gun, but Elias steps between him and Josie with a calm, dangerous stillness. He doesn't need a weapon. His decision is sharp enough. The girl comes with me, he says quietly. If you want her back, you better bring more than a badge. The crowd backs away. No one wants to stand between Elias and whatever storm is brewing. Elias helps Josie to his horse. Her legs shake, but her eyes burn with a fragile kind of strength. He lifts her into the saddle, climbs up behind her, and hands her a canteen. She drinks hard, water running down her chin. The sheriff shouts for someone, anyone, to stop them. But no one moves. People remember what happened last summer when Elias put down 3 cattle thieves with the speed of a rattler's strike. Elias digs his heels in. A shot cracks behind them. Dirt erupts near the horses' hooves. They ride harder. Wind whips Josie's hair, stinging her face. She clings to the saddle horn while Elias holds her steady, guiding the horse toward open land. Behind them, the sheriff is yelling for a posse. Ahead, nothing but rolling plains and a thin horizon. Josie turns her head and asks why he helped her. Elias breathes out, half pain, half memory. A promise, he says. To a girl who never got the chance to run. They reach a quiet rise near the Arkansas River. The horse slows. Elias helps Josie down gently, like she's something the world has already cracked too many times. She stands barefoot in the warm grass, arms wrapped around her ribs. Elias tells her she doesn't have to be afraid, not while he's standing. The words hit her harder than the sun. She's been treated as less than human for so long that kindness feels like something foreign, something dangerous to hope for. She wipes her eyes, embarrassed, but Elias shakes his head. Strong people cry, he says. Sometimes they cry because they carried the weight alone for too long. Josie breathes deep. For the first time, her fear loosens its grip, just a little. The riders chasing her may still come, but fear feels different now. It isn't the fear of being dragged back into darkness. It's the fear of losing the first good thing she's found in years. Elias tells her that people aren't born broken, they're bent by the hands that fail them. But they can be unbent by the people who choose to stand beside them. He looks her in the eyes. Today, he tells her, you chose freedom. You chose your own life. Your own road. The sun climbs higher. Heat ripples across the land. Far behind them, a thin cloud of dust rises, riders approaching. Elias watches the horizon, jaw tightening. Josie steps closer, her voice barely a breath. Will they catch us? Elias shifts his hat, eyes narrowing at the distant riders. They can try, he says. But they'll have to go through me.